Today we continue our trip up the River Esk. If you have not watched part 1, now would be a good time to click the link above. We've also included a link in this video's description. Hello and welcome to my channel. Just past the road bridge on the right bank is the Rennie Community Garden. It does look a little overgrown this year. Do any of the viewers know if this is still being tended to? On the left bank, just before we reach the Roman bridge, stands the statue of an archer. The statue itself was designed by two Edinburgh College art graduates who settled on the figure to represent several key periods of Musselburgh history. First, the archer represents the Roman occupation of the area during the year 80 AD. It's also symbolic of the Battle of Pinkie Cleugh that took place in 1547. And lastly, it represents the Musselburgh Silver Arrow competition and trophy. The centuries-old competition, designed for archers, began in 1603 and still continues to this day. The trophy for the contest is thought to be one of the world's oldest. Further downstream is the old bridge, known as the Roman Bridge, though the foundations were built over a two-arch structure in medieval times, the third arch being added in 1597. In 1296, the old bridge carried the Scottish army marching to the Battle of Dunbar, and in 1314 the English army crossed it, following its defeat at Bannockburn. While crossing the bridge after the Battle of Pinkie in 1547, several of the Scottish army were killed by shots from the English ships lying off the mouth of the Esk. Now if you're wondering, that's one hell of a shot. The sea has actually receded considerably since then. Charles Edward Stuart led his Highland army across the bridge to the Battle of Prestonpans in 1745 and again in triumphant return to Edinburgh. It is also the site of a previous fording spot, which is still used annually during the Crusaders' Chase. The chase is a popular and colourful event with many townsfolk gathering at the Roman Bridge to see the horses and riders, led by the club captain, cross the River Esk. We have included a link to our video of the 2023 Crusaders Chase in this video's description. Peeking over the trees there on the left bank is the Haywaits clock. Also in this area was the original Musselburgh train station, which was demolished in 1970. Both of these points of interest were covered in previous videos, the links for which are in this video's description. On the right bank, hidden by the trees, is an old phone box. The local community have transformed this phone box into a community garden. Certainly worth a wee visit. We now come to the second road bridge to cross the Esk in Musselburgh. This was a former railway viaduct built in 1877 to carry trains between Musselburgh train station and Fisherrow station onto the East Coast rail line. At the end of 1945, an accident occurred at the station where a goods train entering the station slid on the ice on the tracks and demolished part of the station. Unfortunately, a young lady working at the station lost her life. Musselburgh Station was closed to passengers in 1964 and to freight in 1970. The station was demolished and the land was converted into a car park. The rail viaduct was then turned into a road bridge, with most of the former track bed converted for road use. Next to the road bridge is the Ivanhoe Bridge, a small footbridge which was originally built in 1923 to carry workers across the river to the mills. On the left bank there are several buildings known as the River Esk Mills, which at one time employed many of the Musselburgh townsfolk. The first was Brunton's, the internationally famous wire mill, which was founded in 1876 and occupied a huge site by the river. They rigged the first airships, and many suspension bridges were cabled by Brunton's, including the Forth Road Bridge. The doors were closed for the final time in February 1997. These buildings have now been totally demolished. Further upstream was the net mill. In 1820, James Patterson invented the mechanical net loom to replace the manual process. The net mill closed in 1998. The final large building was the Musselburgh paper mill, which operated from the 1870s until its closure in 1971. We plan to cover the River Esk Mills in a future video. Before we come to the end of our trip up the Esk, this may be one of the last chances to film the Esk as it is today. It's no secret in Musselburgh that there are plans to drastically change the appearance of the banks of the river to install flood protection for the town. Many of the townspeople have been quick to challenge these proposals, asking if the £100 million project is really necessary. This is also a very popular spot for the local fly fishermen, and indeed on the day I was filming, there was an individual fly fishing from one of the small islands below the weir, and I'm thankful that I didn't crash into his fishing equipment and his fishing equipment didn't crash into my drone. Finally, we come to a weir, which provided the head of water to power the mills above and several smaller mills, tanneries and other industries which relied on the river for its water supply and power. The weir is known locally as the Falls. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a wee like and feel free to comment. We would also appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. This will allow you to keep up to date with all the latest Drone Man Scotland content. Bye for now.